not only from the applicants, but also from the future tenant, should the courts rule against us
All right.
in those two lawsuits. Specifically the one, the first one. Sorry, I don't know what I'm supposed to say on one on that.
No, you're just, you know,
The actual lawsuits in there and the public records.
Okay, so the both of them, but more specifically the first one with regards to zoning. This now gives them a substantial interest in the project, which could leave us open to further litigation, which would void that 31 million.
and to reiterate, in my, you know, in our estimation, in your legal opinion, this is administrative. If for an approved project, part of the process, and you're advising us, and our attorneys have advised us that this is something we can move and act on this evening.
It's approved and it's part of the resolution and the town is required to it, so as far as we're concerned, there's no legal constraints on the board at this time.
Okay. We have a motion.
I'll make that motion.
We have a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Any abstentions? Motion carries. Moving on to I, resolution to create Bracken Road Traffic Light Fund. This is very specific to a bunch of projects on Bracken Road. There was interest and negotiations done, great work actually by the planning board, to ensure that businesses that come into Bracken Road, specific businesses, would work on contributing to a light at the end of Bracken Road and Route 208. This is very important. This is a light that the community wants, all the business that Bracken Road wants. We have had checks that have been sitting uncashed. We've had one that was rewritten twice because there was no fund created to put this money into. Our attorneys drafted a resolution that allows us some flexibility while it speaks to the Bracken Road traffic light. It allows us, in the event that something happens and DOT funds the entire traffic signal, we have funds available to potentially address another traffic signal in town. So thank you for wording it in such a way that protects us and gives us more options. Does anybody have any questions on this one?
No. Those checks
All right.
are received deposited.
Yeah, well, they're gonna get deposited, Bernard's on it, we just needed to make a fund to deposit them into. So there
if you're looking
is
for
a
motion-
resolution, looking for a resolution of the town board of the town of Montgomery authorizing the creation of a capital reserve fund for the construction and installation of traffic lights within the town of Montgomery. Would anyone like to make that motion?
I will make that motion.
Do we have a second? Seconded by Cindy. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, motion carried. We are gonna get to the comp plan later. Basically, what we're gonna do tonight is go into an executive session where we're gonna look at all of the resumes that we have and select who we're going to interview and then set a special meeting to do the interview process. So that's gonna be later. RFP for consulting services. So this is just something I wanted to generally bring up. The specific RFP I'd like to ask our attorney, another RFP, to draft is for engineer for the town. I would like to, before we do an RFP for water and sewer engineers, invite Delaware Engineering, who also has Mike Aiello, who is our longtime town engineer working within that firm. I would like them to do a presentation and an update on our water and sewer, since they are currently our consultants. If the board is pleased and happy with that path forward with Delaware Engineering, maybe we move forward with not RFP, but specifically for the town engineer, I would like to give our attorney guidance to do an RFP for engineer for the town. You guys have any thoughts? Need a motion for that?
Yes,
Do you
So
need,
moved.
do you need end date too?
so it's, again, the type of thing, do you want, if the board wants to review it, then I would say hold off on the end date until I get feedback.
No, it's all right. I mean, it's gonna be pretty simple, RFP, right? I mean, I don't think we need to get feedback from it. So pending approval of the supervisor,
Yep.
we'll, need a motion to authorize our attorney to draft an RFP for engineers of the town with the end date. Let's keep it consistent with the, what was the date we gave you last time?
11,
March 11th? March 11th,
Yeah.
okay?
I'll make that.
Second.
All right, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining? Motion carries. And what I'd like to do is just continue to do that process for consultants. Each meeting we'll take on a different one and figure out if we want to just bring them in or extend them or do an RFP.
So, but on a more closer schedule, based on the class that I took, something interesting is that I'd like to think about, do we need to hire a new attorney or an attorney, I mean, or you guys can submit your resumes, I'd like to see what kind of work you've done in regards to zoning. Because I feel like we'll need a zoning attorney to update the zoning law that we have as we look forward with the comp plan.
So, me and Kristen discussed this today, and at first I wasn't thinking about it, because when we did our comp plan update, we just used our attorney for zoning. What Kristen's saying is having a specialized RFP for specific to zoning, so that we can entertain having a specific, maybe a firm geared towards just zoning, and kind of see our firm put in for that too, but also maybe see if we can have a specified firm, take a look at it. I don't think it hurts. It'll educate us more, honestly, on the process while we do it. So we can have our attorney RFP that as well.
For an attorney to what, serve as like a liaison to like the comp plan committee and the zoning career
I wouldn't even say
after?
comp plan committee, I would say zoning changes.
Zoning changes.
Isn't the president of the ZBA an attorney?
Well, we don't
So
know
what
that
does
he's
he
a-
specialize in?
Right, he's an attorney who serves on the zoning board, but I don't know that he's a zoning attorney.
I'm a
Wait, so-
farmer and I specialize in beef, not dairy, I mean, they're
Sorry,
two
go
different
ahead.
things.
You want to do an RFP for the attorney for the ZBA?
No.
No,
For the zoning
for
code?
the zoning
Yes.
code update.
Is the rest of the board in favor of doing that?
Yes.
Okay. Should we change the time frame? Does it matter that they're
I
all the
would do
same?
it sooner, no, because your comp plan is gonna start working on the zoning, and you should have, whether they start working for you or not, at least if you have the person identified, because you're gonna start with the restraints of the moratorium.
Alright, let's set that one for the end date for, sorry, go ahead.
You're not going to do zoning changes until you have new policy, really.
Actually,
Kinda
we
a
were
little too
discussing,
early.
So we were discussing
Yeah.
the potential going based on updates in the comp plan for 2010, if there are any opportunities consistent with those updates to also change zoning, and that's something that
I mean,
we
whatever.
could do.
it's concerning because think about the time frame. When you start to when you end the comp plan, right, we all talked about reality, it's gonna cost 12 months. According to the memo from Will, you don't wanna go much past 12 months because you open yourself up to potential litigation. So, how do you do the comp plan in 12 months? And then look at the most controversial piece, which is a zoning, unless you're going to extend your moratorium to cover you while you do the zoning, the most controversial piece, you would have to run them in parallel if possible.
In our discussion, it allowed us a little flexibility in terms of arguing our 2010 comp plan updates to change the zoning. And I don't know that, but that's what Chris is referring to.
And maybe there's somebody that has done it before, but I would be concerned about that time frame of running of that.
The comp plan justifies a zoning change.
Right.
So technically, you could change the zoning based on the 2010 comp plan updates if it affects areas the comp plan committee identifies and it saves us time and money during the process, is the theory. So that's why we were.
So you would make them, so the comp plan is not voted on and finalized yet,
But-
but you'd be making the changes.
But if there is a consensus on a certain change and that was already part of the comp plan updates in 2010, you could technically change the zoning during the process and get ahead of waiting till the end of the process for the justification of the zone change. And are we making no sense? Was this just a random discussion? or?
No, you're making sense, but I wouldn't, it's,
Now, how do you do it?
no, I understand, I see what you're saying. I think that it's still too early in the process because there's so much in the beginning, as we heard tonight, there's so much in the beginning, 6 months, that's based upon discussions and
Yeah, sure.
policy and theories and projects and stickers and I like this and I don't like that, so you're gonna have somebody,
So let's go past that, right? And
Yeah.
this just gives us options, in my
yeah,
opinion.
no, if that's, if
And-
that's.
So I don't think you need to rush it.
Right, but I mean, instead of having everything on March 11th, we can do this sooner. We can do this one on the 20th of February, the end date.
Yeah, but by the time you get it out, it's stuff.
We'll get it out by next Wednesday, and that's more than 3 weeks. And we know who most of these firms are gonna be. They're gonna jump at it. So, it's mostly in education, in my opinion. The specialization of zoning firms, and for me, I feel like that's gonna be a plus even at the beginning of the process for us to take a look at. I don't know, that's how I look at it.
There's money in the budget for that?
RFPs, or,
For zoning board expertise?
Well,
So we would say-
you're only paying them if you need them.
right.
We're only paying.
Correct.
Right, you're not gonna,
We
you're
have,
just,
we have an
you're just
attorney
gonna
line.
choose
We're gonna,
them.
we're obviously gonna need it if we hire them.
Well, maybe not till next year, maybe, or maybe we don't, we
But
find
it's
something.
not-
Do you have any input on the comp?
No, they're just gonna be a consultant, and if we wanted to look at a zoning change, we would consult them.
And they don't get paid consultants.
Sure they do. They would get paid, and we would probably put in the RFP, the same hourly rate we would expect that's within our budget with our attorneys. And if they are not willing to accept that, they're not willing to accept that.
So the people that are the planners that we heard today, they're not gonna be responsible for zoning?
No.
Legal stuff?
No.
What's interesting is actually, if you look at the first planning group that, they don't reference zoning, and when I asked him about the zoning specifically in Albany, he said, we can do that, but that's extra.
Right, they would have their own zoning.
What about the second group?
Parts of it is integral in the packet that we got, parts of it. But I did not
Traditionally,
get to specifically ask them.
traditionally, you do the comp plan and your council helps you with the zoning changes after the comp plan's adopted, because that's the justification of the zoning changes. What Kristen is saying is, why don't we do an RFP to take a look at potentially, when the time comes, hiring specific zoning firms? I don't think there's a danger in doing that. Anyone like
So
to,
their word is gonna overtake the word of the 11 people that
Or
we've
they-
been working
or
on
they-
it for 8 months.
on paper, no.
They would be, I would imagine the zoning would be,
So the
part
people
of
that
the
are-
comprehensive plan,
People in the
and
comp
it's
plan,
gonna-
they wanna
yeah.
do this and they wanna make this zoning change. And we have the zoning person to come in and talk to them and say, no, you don't wanna
No.
do that.
After the plan is adopted by the town board, we have to change the zoning. So instead of us using our town attorney to draft the zoning law, we would use this specified zoning firm to draft it at the same hourly rate, and it doesn't make a difference to us on the bottom line, because we have a budget. Whether we're paying the zoning firm, as long as it's the same hourly rate, or our firm, we have a budgeted line in the budget for these services. So from a monetary standpoint, it really, as long as we keep it on the same hourly rate, we're fine. Right? If they're willing to get the work, right,
but we can at least get the quotes back and have a place to go.
I'm with Kristen on that. Alright, so we would need a motion to allow our attorney to draft another RFP with the end date of, what I give them, 3 weeks and 1 day, after it's posted, so that would be, let's say, Friday, February 21st.
I'd make that motion.
Anyone second?
I'll second
All in favor?
I,
Any opposed? Any abstaining? Motion carried. We are gonna table the live stream discussion, because a bunch of different items popped up that I'm not prepared for, and I wanna make sure we're prepared for that discussion. So that'll come up on February 6th.
You need me to get a public hearing notice out tomorrow for the RFP for the attorney?
No, not by tomorrow.
Okay, the
Um,
31st as well?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Okay, so the next is M for Medline. This is simply, setting a date, for Thursday, February 20th as a continuance of the public hearing for the extension of water and sewer for Medline. Would anyone like to make that motion?
I'll make it.
Anyone second? Any discussion? All in favor? Oh, do we need to set a time? For the public hearing? So let's, 7 p.m. or sometime
Yeah,
thereafter?
yeah, until
Thereafter.
7, yeah.
Okay, someone make that motion for 7 p.m., adding 7 p.m. thereafter. Who was the motion?
Sure.
Yeah, it has to be
Sherry?
two, it has to be two separate motions, one for the extension of water, one for the extension of sewer.
Alright, let's start over. So the first motion is gonna be setting a date for, Thursday, February 20th for the continuance of the public hearing for the extension of water for Medline for 7 p.m.
Or soon after.
or soon after. Who would like to make that motion?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining? Motion carried. Would someone like to make a motion to set a date for continuance of a public hearing for Thursday, February 20th for 7:15 p.m. or sometime thereafter, for the extension of sewer for Medline?
Whoa, does it have to be 7:15? I mean,
It
if
could
it
be
says at
7:30.
7:05, then we have to wait until 7.
Or soon after?
Just say
Okay,
7
okay.
or
Just say 7.
That's why I
7?
would say 7, yeah,
Soon
you
after.
just don't wanna be like,
I'm
Yeah,
good,
sorry,
I'm easy,
7:15.
whatever you wanna do, 7:15, 7 o'clock, 7:05.
Cindy made that motion.
What do you guys want, 7 o'clock,
7.
or sometime thereafter? Who would like to make that motion?
Cindy did.
Anyone second? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining? Motion carried. Okay, we're adding Roman numeral 7, approval of audited bills. Would anyone like to make a motion to approve the audited bills?
Yeah, you have
The total?
The abstract.
The total is $1,825,314.42.
Abstract one.
Abstract number 1 for payroll is 26 and 1 this year. Voucher number is 192710 through 192911.
Just
And
cleaned up 2019.
yeah, this is when I talked to. Sorry, if anybody else wants to talk, just tell me to.
No, go ahead, go ahead.
There's two of these.
Cindy, going forward, let's connect and make sure this is done in a way that you guys are used to, and we'll make sure we update the process so that everybody has access to it the week before.
So when I talked to Bernard today, he stated to me that finance is in the process of reconciling and updating KBS. By transferring fund balance to cover the negatives, it could skew the numbers slightly as finance is working to clean up the books. There was no external reconciliations from the external source or banks for the entire year, last year. So we need to approve, I need to approve, but look at one specific line that I wanted to bring to you guys' attention, and that is the line for the capital fund, Fund H, as it's currently $856,472.83 and still growing.
We've been asking her about that line, there was 600 and some odd thousand
Cindy,
dollars in that line.
Cindy, this is the need for the auditor to come in.
Right, we
This
gotta
is-
find where that 600,000.
It's the same,
There-
it's the same question I
Cindy?
asked with the Parks and Rec one.
Cindy, this is one of 1 million questions that I have.
So, but that number,
Towns that are in here because.
They're good, you guys
money
made the
that was-
motion.
Where's the money that was
They're
in
gonna be
that
in, they're gonna
line?
be in next week, and we're gonna be asking questions, they're gonna give us answers, and we'll have much more cleaned up.
but just know that we do
Just
have
so the public
extended.
knows also, and I'm gonna tell them.
Go ahead.
Of that 1,000,008, there was a check for over $1 million sent to Valley Central, because we, the town, collect
Pilot.
pilot money as well as tax money. So we had $1 million worth of pilot money come in September and put it in an account and did not give it to Valley Central. That's part of the $1,000,008.
So we had to clean that up, among other things,
And we
as
got
part
a
of the audit.
$10,000, we get a 1% fee on that also.
So,
That's
which-
going to Parks and Rec, because I found it.
But there is, in that amount that I just told you, there are contracts still being executed, so that number will continue to grow.
And I can talk to Bernard, but
Yeah.
I thought in the first one of the year, we usually get two, because stuff gets backdated, like payroll 26 goes back to 2019.
I understand.
Payroll 1 is 2020, so this really needs to be split, because that stuff has to be put back into last year's budget.
Okay,
Are
so,
there any
Yeah,
time
well, it should have been
those in
accrued
here?
last year if we
Right.
do the right accounting, but we don't have an accrual method.
that's a good point. I wanna say there are.
Payroll
They
number,
shouldn't, because they're starting with 1/9, which means it's from 2019.
You know what, no, in the audited pile, it was just 2019. All the 2020 were separated, you're right.
so the payroll number 26, if this helps,
That's last
is
year.
from December 9th
Yeah,
to
that's
December
the last-
20th.
Right,
Correct.
that's gotta go back.
Payroll number 1 is for December 23rd through January 5th,
And that's wrong, too.
That's wrong, it's gotta
Because
be
it's a
1/1 to.
and the audit is for last year's. Like what we're approving now are last year's bills, so.
Since 2019.
Yeah, but you're approving the first payroll. though.
Yes.
Their
'Cause that's
accounting
due
year
for
ended
January
December
5th.
26th. That's
Right.
what she said.
Right, we know that,
So it's a
That's not where the
conversation,
paychecks were issued. They were issued for 3 days.
yeah.
so it's probably the numbers Bernard gave us, obviously we had to make payroll for the 26th and the 1st.
Correct.
But I guess just a conversation, we have to make sure that got moved back into 19
And that's,
and 20.
and that's happening.
Yeah.
That's happening,
And the second payroll check is correct.
yes,
It looked correct.
yes. Payroll was correct. There was, I think, a couple minor things that are getting. Yeah.
Should have taken that money back.
So-
All right.
The last 2 months.
But back to, is this abstract number 13 of 2019, or is this audit number 1 of 2020?
I think we should have two.
Because
So this
the way
probably
the
should,
voucher numbers, when they start with the 19, that means it's for the year 2019.
yeah,
One,
So that should be.
26 payroll, 26, that's the payroll, that's the last payroll week, 2 weeks.
So there's no
26.
2020 bills in
No.
there. So this should be
No.
actually abstract number 13 of 2019.
Right. We should be going against last year,
that's
Payroll, not payroll one.
not payroll.
correct. So for a purpose of a motion paying the bills, we wanna make sure that we make it clear it's abstract number 13 of 2019.
Yes. When are you paying the 2020 bills?
That would be at the next meeting.
And I would say
2 years.
20,
No, not 2
20,
years.
2019 bills and payroll 26.
Okay,
Not payroll
So
number
we're gonna have the money by March.
that's true.
But then we need to remove payroll number 1 number from the number that I just said, right? To give Tara the correct number of what we're paying?
Payroll 1 is only 3 days in 2020.
Right.
But I do have the number for payroll 1 if you want.
Do
Okay.
we need to remove that
Yeah,
to
'cause
give
they
you the
split-
right
Do we
number?
need, so we need do we need two separate motions, one for payroll, one?
Yeah.
Well, you can put that on to next month. if you want.
I'd rather not, no, I'd rather get it all done tonight.
So we gotta subtract, so we gotta
Yes.
Are you sure this amount includes payroll one?
No,
Says payroll
Well, it
number
says
1,
payroll one, but
and then include, that was the total amount that Bernard gave.
that's included all.
Gonna have to make him full-time.
He's great.
Yeah, his staff is great.
$10,000
He's really been digging in.
92.
He is, yeah.
Alright, so if we're going, if we're gonna accept the audit, abstract number 13 of 2019, payroll number 26, for the total of $1,733,273.89. I'm sorry, did I go too fast? Tara,
No, I got it.
I was told specifically that I need to get the right number.
I got it. $1,733,273.89.
Correct.
So I'll make a motion to accept abstract 13 for that amount.
Okay, second?
That's it. Go ahead.
Can we vote on that?
Yes.
We can vote on that?
Yeah. Are you talking about because you signed some of the bills?
You were approving bills that were in September, October, November.
Oh, I found
Oh,
this
yeah.
out, yes,
Oh,
I
yeah.
found this
Oh,
out from Bernard. In good faith of ensuring the credit for the town, we can vote
Okay.
and approve
Okay, fine.
these bills to ensure the credit of the town still stays sound.
Okay,
Correct.
Good, then I'll say.
Are you good, Ron?
I'm good with that.
All right.
I'm sorry, I was supposed to.
All in
write that
favor?
ahead of time.
Supposed to tell me.
Aye.
I'll be in favor, but I do want the Marlin Bank
Marlin Bank?
to be renegotiated. We're
Okay.
paying like way too much money for that,
Shouldn't you?
On it.
okay?
Okay.
Here, pass that out.
Tell Bernard
Yeah.
to call that bank and renegotiate that, or we should just pay it off.
Okay.
It's like 20%.
Terry, you
Can't pay
good?
it off. Fees.
Then what are we
Can't pay
doing
it
with
off.
audit, with
Payroll
payroll
number
number
one.
one?
Now we gotta accept, I
We-
think
that's a
there's
separate motion.
abstract one
Yeah.
for that difference
Like
amount
for
that Eric just had.
50,000.
I got it, so
Go ahead,
I
read it out.
motion to accept abstract number 1 for payroll number 1 in the amount of 92,000.
No, it's the 175.
175,000 for 3 days?
92,040. 92,040.
Isn't that what she was saying?
Yeah, that's what I subtracted off that.
This is the total payroll.
And then you
Yeah.
Oh,
got the
see,
wrong
okay.
figure.
I'm sorry, I thought that's what
It
it
is
was.
just 3 days.
Yeah.
So that's.
Well, no, this is because this is December 23rd to January 5th, so that's not very much.
Right, only 3 days.
But this is when they got, they got.
Picked up the last
I
week,
don't know
it was
how to
68
count
counts
those
in here.
days.
Yeah.
I don't either, it's not in here, right? I just know.
So what happens if we don't approve it?
We gotta clean it up, and next week when we do our special meeting, we gotta sign it, we gotta take care of it.
So what is this thing?
That's the figure that I took, total due from funds, and I said that was the total.
Do we have to do this?
That was the amount I subtracted.
No.
And then we motion the amount.
Stephanie, you gotta get the figure, right? Yeah, what I would suggest is we have our special meeting, it's gonna be next week, we add this to it,
So let's go back.
abstract one, and we get the right numbers, and then we clean this up moving forward.
But then what's,
13's wrong.
yeah, then 13's wrong.
You get to rescind the motion.
So
Yeah, I rescind
Okay.
it,
So we're gonna have to do this next week. Okay,
we're separating.
alright,
Yes.
procedurally, rescinding the motion,
Yeah.
just make
Motion
it,
to rescind the motion.
alright, who would like to make that motion?
I'll make it.
Whoever didn't make the first motion, right?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstained? Motion carried. We'll get there, everybody. Alright, good and welfare. Yeah, so there's one thing. We also wanted to discuss putting a special meeting work session together to do an infrastructure inventory. For us all to kind of have, as a practice, go and see the sewer and the water infrastructure. We thought that would be something, especially for us newbies, that we'd really be able to benefit from.
The wastewater treatment plant, the highway garage, the pump stations.
Yep.
See them all.
The wells.
Well, it's optional, I guess,
See
but
them all.
for those that would like to do it, I think it would be great for our whole board to do it. And we would set a special date work session for it. And,
I can go too, but I'll go.
all right, so how does everybody feel about, Thursday, February 13th?
During the
It could be during the day.
It's gotta be, cause if we're gonna look at the facilities,
Yeah.
it's gotta be during the day.
I will be,
You won't be here? Do you wanna move it to the Wednesday the 12th?
I will be.
You're gonna be gone, huh?
Monday.
Monday the 10th? I'm okay with that.
Is that a school holiday?
No,
No.
it is not.
It's the
That's
next.
the 14th and 17th.
All right, Monday, February 10th, special meeting, work session, where we'll be driving around and doing inventory of the infrastructure.
What time?
10 a.m.,
We gotta check that.
11 a.m.?
Doesn't he let him?
Okay, we do 11. All right, all right, so who would like to make a motion to set a special work session of the town of Montgomery board to visit the infrastructure needs in the town of Montgomery? We'll keep it general.
I make it.
Who's gonna show us what the needs are?
Our consultants and our highway
Consultants
superintendent.
are gonna do that?
Yeah.
So I anticipated Dover Engineering, JCO,
Yeah.
Billy Dunn,
Yep.
Sean,
Sean.
so that way, who's ever in charge of
Yeah.
those individuals, we can take a look at it and know what's going on.
Yep, I agree. All right, that would be 11 a.m., February 10th. Would anyone like to make that motion?
I did.
I'll make it.
Seconded by Sherry. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining? Motion carried. Okay, before we adjourn, we're going to make a motion to go into executive session to discuss comp plan committee appointments and ethics complaint. Would anyone like to make that motion?
I'll make it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining? Motion carried. So-
I just need your locations for a special meeting, so I can read the notice.
Okay, so can
You
we?
can send me an email tomorrow.
Yes,
with
I'll give you
everything.
specific locations. Yep, thank you.
Anybody have that payroll one?
I have, well, I have, you can have mine.
Send it on to that meeting?
I think so.
Bernard
Huh?
gave me two.